Looking at another ladder game I played recently here. Played against Protoss. This is a newer map. The new season's been live for a couple weeks now. I don't have a ton of games played in the new season yet, like fewer than 20 I want to say. This map is more of an aggressive map, but I didn't really concern myself with that once I saw that my opponent was not cannon rushing me. Because against anything but a cannon rush, just going hatch gust pull is fine. And if you make sure to spot the cannon rush early enough, it's still okay. But you'll see I queue up my second overlord here to kind of check around what's going on at my natural up here and make sure that there's not pylons going down to cannon rush that base. So they recently nerfed the Hydralisk. It takes longer to fully upgrade now. It's still a really good endgame unit. It just doesn't come online for being a good mid-game unit as quickly because they've separated the upgrade, which was the case for a long time in Heart of the Swarm, but for Legacy of the Void, they've had it be one upgrade so far, but they split it back into two, so there's an upgrade that gives a Hydra additional range, and there's a separate upgrade that gives a Hydralisk additional movement speed. So that's slightly altered what builds I do. End up having to make a Roach Warren a little bit more often. Should probably be doing that just out of safety anyhow. When I get over here and my Overlord doesn't see an expansion, I think I need to start making just a few units in case there is some very early aggression. Because what you want to see is that the Protoss has started a second base. If they have, you know it's okay to take a third. If you haven't, they might be doing some sort of one base aggro play or just some light harassment. In this case, I think I spot a Stargate at some point. So I know that's either Phoenixes or an Oracle. The front of their base is poorly walled considering how short the rush distance is on this map. I made that early evolution chamber there with the thought that I might want to get some drop overlords if the situation presented itself where that would be useful to drop some Zerglings into their base, but having seen the wall at the front of their base, I'm not actually, or lack of wall at the front of their base, I'm not sure if that was actually a good call. I think the chamber sits a long time without making an upgrade and without me making a overlord into a drop overlord. So I see this Stalker. See, there's some cannons going down, which sort of implies my opponent is not being aggressive. But they check out what's going on up here, too. Start just attacking as many probes as I can get. I think I ended up getting 5 at the end of all this with just a handful of Zerglings, which is great. What do I need? What do I actually need here? Yeah, so 4 workers. I think they kill another one. Yeah, there we go. 5 workers. So at the end of this, I'm ahead on workers and have a bigger army. It's just where I want to be. I don't know if I actually saw the Stargate there with something. Yeah, okay, so I did spot the Stargate, which is why I'm making the spores. But that seems like a reasonable assumption to make at this point, because I haven't seen more gateways. I didn't see a Twilight Council. I don't see there being enough gateway units here for this to be a glaives attack or a charge attack. So the only thing that makes sense is for my opponent to have made a Stargate, but I did actually see it. So I was showing you my vision there with the when I clicked at the enemy base. My opponent still, I don't think it has even taken their natural expansion. So Zergling speed just now finished. So I dealt all that damage with slow Zerglings, which is really great for me to be ahead. So ideally you also get a couple more queens to both spread the creep and have better defense against air units. See right there, I started a layer. And I want to say I started Roach Warren around the same time in the third. Because I want to just walk some units across the map and smash my opponent, since it looks like they didn't expand for a really long time. So I should have been ahead of them on economy for a pretty long time now. That Roach Warren is maybe a little bit later than would have been ideal. Should have started that like immediately after I started that third base. Or like when the layer's maybe halfway done, so that way I can get the movement speed upgrade, the Glowry Constitution for the Roaches as soon as the Roach Warren finishes. See, because there's the layer done, and the Roach Warren's not quite done yet. So it needs to start just a little bit sooner in the future. I also don't quite have enough workers there, but I see I have 12 more in production, so guess that's okay. I just made a lot of tech. I've done kind of a bad job of following up and seeing what's actually in my opponent's base. It would be very good for me to have done that. Did I actually get... No. I didn't get the speed upgrade for the Overlords to make them move around the map faster. Either with them or with Zerglings, it's kind of important to go back and check what your opponent's doing so you don't get just caught off guard by something. But I have a whole bunch of different tech options here. I'm about to make a Hydralisk Den. Made a Baneling Nest. I don't think I make a single Baneling this game because my opponent doesn't actually make anything that matters. But the good thing is Zerg is that since you can make any number of units, once you have the single tech building, just make it so that you can switch into things if you need them. So I do have pretty decent vision of what's going on the map there with my Overlord spread. You know, they're keeping eyes on attack paths, keeping eyes on potential next expansions. Mutation complete. Don't quite have eyes on all the way to the very corners of the map, which maybe I should. This map I don't have enough experience on to know if that's important yet, but there's that map from last season that's still in the pool, Blackpink, where I keep seeing people take the corner expansions. Okay, so my +1 just finished. Making Groove Spines right now for the Hydros because that's their range upgrade. Starting +2 for my ranged units right now. Made the Baneling speed. It's just always important to get the speed upgrades for all your units. Just like one of your big advantages as a Zerg is that once you have the speed upgrades, your units are generally faster than your opponents. So you can use that to be have map control. You can see what's going on when things are coming toward you. Can counterattack your opponent more effectively. You're under attack. Siege up. So my Hydralisks and Roaches are engaging something over there, but I didn't quite catch what it was. You're engaging the field's been mined out. Hope you have an expansion. Okay, Void Rays. I saw it was Void Rays. Okay, this plan's fine against Void Rays because Hydralisks are very good against those. So I just want to make sure before I engage with my Roaches that I have several Hydralisks with them to fight off the Void Rays. So you see this is a handful of Hydralisks. You want to get like 15 to 20. Really 20 plus is the number you want to have it be a sufficient fighting force. We're running out of minerals back home. Did I really just start? Oh, okay. That looked like the Roach upgrade, but I guess I'm just mistaken because it's been so long since I've actually seen Muscular Augments. The Hydralisk speed upgrade is a separate thing that I've forgotten what its icon looks like. Make some Ravagers because I figured they can try to buy out some of the Void Rays as well. But it looks like my opponent is not doing anything super aggressive. I thought I was making some more Queens. I see I did make a couple more Queens. I finally started Spire with the thought that if I can clean up the Void Rays with my ground army, whatever the next transition in the sky is, the Corruptors will be good against it, because the next transitions will be massive units, either Tempests or Carriers, and Corruptors are great against both of those things. They're not very good against Void Rays, though. I really need my ground army to clean up the Void Rays. So I go over here and, yep, that's a lot of Void Rays. But we do a lot of trading out here. It actually ends up pretty in my favor, because a Void Ray costs 150 gas each. A Hydralisk only costs 50 gas each. So basically, as long as I'm trading fewer than 3 Hydralisks for every Void Ray, I'm using less gas to destroy their units than they're using gas to destroy my units, which is sort of the resources limiting how much tech you can make, especially as Protoss. I need to hit my injects better. Played this game for 5 years now, and I still need to hit my injects better. So I'm just making more Hydralisks to make sure I don't die to the Void Rays. It takes a really long time to make Tempests carriers, so I know I have some time before I actually need the Corruptors. But I want to make sure that any more Void Rays that are out aren't going to just come across the map and destroy all my stuff. I think, well, if it does go super late game, I'm going to use Broodlords to end up destroying their buildings and use the Corruptors to protect them. So I start the Infestation Pit there with the thought of starting a hive, potentially. Should already really have done a 4th base. Floating a ton of minerals right there. Should probably also start a macro hatchery at this time. Because the other thing you can do with, while you're engaging their air army, you make a whole bunch of Zerglings and just right-click when you make them, which will issue a move command, to one of the bases on the map. And then they'll just start attacking it. So it's a no microwave to do a counterattack. Got this Overseer that I think I put with my army. Yeah, there it moves. Okay. Because I already have detection at all my bases for if there end up being Dark Templar or a Mothership or anything. I think at some point I do realize I should have a macro hatchery. There we go. Because I'm still floating a large amount of minerals here. I'm pretty late on all this stuff. Really, a lot of this stuff could be done at more like 9 minutes instead of 12 minutes. Get back over here. Oh, hey, my opponent made a bunch more Void Rays. Great. I still have a bunch of Hydralisks that are pretty well upgraded. Because I've gotten their attack upgrades, which makes them... They already deal a ton of damage, but now they deal, like, extra bonus ton of damage. So they don't quite finish off the last couple Void Rays there, but they thinned out their numbers so much that I'm not that concerned about a army flying across the map to destroy all my bases. Looks like I got all the workers there too, and their Nexus, even while I looked away, because I just right-clicked some Zerglings over there, and they went over there and did that for me without me even having to look at it. It was great. Some reinforcing Hydralisks here. So if you saw, like, the thing kind of had a bunch of red lines and then a bunch of red lines, so I did as I told them to attack the cannons and shift-click to attack the next cannon, so that they would specifically target those buildings that were the defensive positions that my opponent's in. Our forces are under attack. This is the right way to do it at Zerg. You don't look at the battle if you don't have your injects done. So I'm just letting the battle take care of itself, making sure I can actually keep producing to actually be able to reinforce. I'm making more drones to actually have an appropriate number of drones for 4 bases in Hive Tech, which is somewhere in the 80-ish range. Where is... No, I don't have that. I only have that live. I guess I have to go here to see that. So 76. Alright. At this point, I'm pretty sure I'm so far ahead I can actually micro a little bit over there. Go ahead and use my Corruptor's Caustic Spray ability to destroy that Nexus, while the Hydralisks are dealing with all the air units over here. I'm pretty sure my opponent doesn't have more bases, but I should really be sending some Overlords or individual Zerglings around the map to double check that's the case. Because if you notice, if I show you the actual mini-map here, with everything on it, doesn't matter though, I've done way too much damage to my opponent. So they say, well played. I'm not 100% sure I've won yet until I do double check a couple things, but once I realize, oh hey, I've destroyed all of their interceptors from the carriers, yeah, they're right. So I say GG, and my opponent ends up leaving here.
That field's been mined out. Hope you have an expansion.